My 28-year-old female oldest son is 3 years old. My fiancé's 32-year-old male mum came over a few weeks ago, and when leaving asked my 3-year-old for a hug. He initially said no and walked away. He came back unprompted and hugged her. She said, "Oh, good, because I was going to be sad." With my fiancé's aunts and best friends edits, I sent her this. Summed up. We're teaching our 3-year-old that he's in control of his own body and self-defined boundaries, regardless of how it makes someone feel. If he's trying to make someone upset on purpose, that's a different story. We don't want him to go against his boundaries to make someone feel better. I'm sure you just want to show he's important to you, but we'd appreciate it if you could show it in a different way. Future mother-in-law. OP, I'd appreciate you not sending me these kinds of messages, and we have these conversations in person. Thank you. OP, I don't really see a difference, to be honest. I would have said the same things in person. I didn't see this topic as one that needs to be discussed too much. If you have a response, I'm obviously open to hearing it, but it won't change the fact that saying things that could make my kids feel guilty and responsible for others' feelings will be accepted. Again, you can show that you care for the boys, but not in ways that make them feel bad. F-Mill. Because having adult conversation via text, I believe, is pretty cowardice. When you address me or any other adult via text, it's not really appropriate, so I will end this conversation. If you can't talk things over with me instead of telling me what not to do, then that in itself is a problem. So I'm done. OP. Again, I would say the same words to you in person. Nothing cowardice about the method I choose to say these words. The reason I didn't see it made sense to do it in person is because I'm essentially asking you a favour, and it's your choice to acknowledge it or not. I wasn't looking for a debate about it, just asking that you please not make certain comments to my babies. I'm all right if she'd prefer me to discuss something like this in person, but why ignore my initial message? Seems like blame-shifting/diverting to me. She then went to my fiancé and texted him, so by now I'm sure OP told you she was messaging me. If you guys have something you need to say to me, just say it. They had a 30-minute phone call, and my fiancé told me she said she's already distanced herself from coming over, and she'll distance herself more if she has to. It's not something she was doing intentionally. I never said it was intentional, just bringing her attention to this and potential repercussions. Chose to message her because I'm horrible at having deep, stressful convos in person. I have ADHD, so can't process what I want to say and what the other person is saying and formulate responses, etc. Also, this is a boundary, so not really up for discussion or debate. Either she chooses to stop or doesn't. Am I the idiot for asking this or how I brought it up? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I'm going to give you a lopsided everyone sucks here with the scales tipped in your favour. I agree with you at every turn, but this was not the conversation to have via text. It comes across as passive-aggressive. I 1000% understand the whole in-person conversation thing, but words are only like 7% of our communication tools. Most of the rest is tone and body language, which does not come across in text. That said, mother-in-law can F right off with this. BC having adult conversation via text, I believe, are pretty cowardice. When you address me or any other adult via text, it's not really appropriate, so I will end this conversation with if you can't talk things over with me instead of telling me what not to do, then that in itself is a problem. So I'm done. Your message was pretty well thought out and explained everything. There's no room for discussion. Comment 2. He came back and gave her a hug. She didn't say it when he told her no, therefore she wasn't manipulating him but stating, I'd be sad. If you didn't want to hug him, would he be expected to learn that voicing how that makes him feel is wrong? There will be kids at school who will or won't want to play with him, share a toy, eat lunch together, etc. It'd be wrong to teach him in those times to attempt to emotionally manipulate them, but it's not wrong or manipulative to communicate how one's actions can make others feel. I'm prepared for the down votes, but in this specific situation, you're the idiot. Comment 3. You're the idiot. I agree with mother-in-law about having the conversation in person. What's funny is you texted her about respecting your boundary but couldn't do the same when she expressed that she would prefer to have these type of conversation in person. Also, you lied. You told her you would say the same thing in person, but would you have really? Later in your post, you claim you didn't want to do it in person because you're horrible at having deep, stressful convos in person. It sounds like you were being a little cowardly. You don't like conflict, so you would rather text to address someone directly in person. Now, for the update. It's been a tough month since my last post about the disagreement with my fiancé's mother, FMIL, over my son's boundaries. I never imagined things would take such a painful turn. After our initial clash, things escalated quickly. My fiancé, caught between me and his mother, tried to mediate, but to no avail. Within a week, what was a disagreement turned into a cold war. FMIL refused to visit or even speak to us, and my fiancé was torn up, feeling like he had to choose sides. The tension at home grew unbearable. We were both stressed, and our little one, sensing the strain, became more clingy and had trouble sleeping. Then, 2 weeks ago, the situation worsened. Our son was playing at a friend's house when he fell and broke his arm. It was a chaotic, frightening time as we rushed him to the hospital for treatment. We had hoped the crisis would bring the family together, but when we informed F-Mile, she coldly wished him a speedy recovery and didn't offer to come to see him. My heart sank, not just for the lack of support, but for the realization of how deep the rift had become. The stress of the ordeal put a strain on our relationship as well. My fiancé and I had a massive fight. He blamed me for sending the initial message and said I had instigated the whole fallout. I was crushed, feeling both responsible for the family tension and devastated by my fiancé's words. Just when I thought things couldn't get worse, my fiancé received a text from F-Mile that she had thought things over and decided to cancel the venue we had booked for our wedding. She had initially offered to pay for it as a gift, but in her message, she said she couldn't support a marriage that started with such discord. Now, 1 month later, the wedding is postponed indefinitely. My fiancé and I are attending couples counselling to navigate through this mess, and I'm left wondering if we'll ever recover from this downward spiral. My son is healing, thankfully, but the once joyous anticipation of our wedding has been replaced with heartache and an uncertain future. Now for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Establishing boundaries, especially when it comes to your own family, is a crucial aspect of any healthy relationship. It's clear from the story that you were advocating for the well-being and comfort of your son, which is your primary responsibility as a parent. F-Mile's reaction to the disagreement, while possibly stemming from hurt feelings, is disproportionate and manipulative. By refusing to visit or communicate, she's effectively punishing you for standing up for your family's needs. This is not a constructive way to handle conflict and does little to foster a positive relationship with her future in-law. Moreover, the fact that she went as far as to cancel the wedding venue is an overreach that crosses several boundaries. It's one thing to be upset and need space to process emotions, but it's another to actively interfere with major life events as a form of retribution. It appears that the primary issue here isn't just about the disagreement itself, but F-Mile's inability to respect you and your fiancé as adults capable of making your own decisions regarding your family. While it's unfortunate that this has led to a postponement of the wedding and stress within your relationship, it's important to remember that the health of your immediate family unit should come first. Attending couples counselling is a positive step towards addressing these issues, and it's essential to work through this conflict together with your fiancé before moving forward with marriage. Comment 2. Not the idiot. In any family dispute, it's important to communicate effectively and attempt to resolve issues with empathy and understanding. However, from the information provided, it seems that you have been placed in an unfair position. The fallout from setting boundaries should not lead to such extreme consequences as having your wedding venue cancelled by someone other than yourself or your fiancé. Your fiancé's mother's actions are indicative of controlling behaviour, and her decision to involve herself in the wedding plans to this extent is inappropriate. Additionally, blaming you for the entirety of the fallout is unjust. Relationships, especially with in-laws, are a two-way street. It requires effort and compromise from both parties. If your F-Mile is unwilling to communicate and work through the disagreement, the responsibility should not fall solely on your shoulders. It is concerning that your fiancé is not supporting you in this situation, as a united front in dealing with familial conflict is crucial. The stress of the situation leading to a fight between you and your fiancé suggests that there may be underlying issues regarding support and communication that need to be addressed in counselling. It's also worth noting that the impact of this family conflict on your child should not be overlooked. Children are sensitive to tension and discord within the family, and it's important to shield them from the negative effects of adult disagreements. By placing the well-being of your son first and seeking professional help through counselling, you are taking responsible steps to mitigate the impact of this unfortunate situation. Moving forward, it's essential to continue to prioritise the emotional health of your immediate family and work on strengthening your partnership with your fiancé. Comment 3. Not the idiot. The cancellation of the wedding venue by your F-Mile is a drastic and hurtful action that has significant emotional and logistical repercussions. While disagreements in families can be complex, it's clear that your F-Mile's decision to cancel the venue is an attempt to exert control and influence over the situation in an inappropriate manner. This kind of behaviour can be seen as coercive and is not conducive to building a respectful and loving relationship between you and your future in-law. In the context of your fiancé placing blame on you for initiating the fallout, it's crucial to recognise that maintaining boundaries is not an act of aggression, but an act of self-care and family protection. It's vital for your fiancé to understand that as partners, you should both be on the same side when it comes to defending your family's boundaries. A failure to do so can lead to a breakdown in trust and communication, which seems to be occurring in this situation. The postponement of the wedding and the heartache you are experiencing are significant consequences of your FMIL's actions, but it may also serve as an opportunity to reassess the dynamics within your relationship with your fiancé and his family. It's encouraging that you both are in couples counselling, as it can help facilitate a deeper understanding between you two and equip you with the tools to navigate through these family issues more effectively. The ethical aspect here involves recognizing everyone's right to establish personal boundaries and the importance of respecting those boundaries. Logically, if a family member cannot respect those limits, it is reasonable to question the future dynamics and how they may impact your marriage and family life. It's important to consider whether these current conflicts are indicative of potential future issues and to address them now before you enter into marriage. Now for the next story. I, 32-year-old female, and my husband Alex, 34-year-old male, have allowed my sister-in-law Julie, 34-year-old female, to stay in our house after her soon-to-be ex-husband kicked her out following their divorce filing. Julie still has her job, but she doesn't want to go through the hassle of finding a new apartment while dealing with her soon-to-be ex-husband. We didn't want her to have to stay in a hotel during this time. I'm Indian, and Alex and the rest of his family are white. I feel like that may be relevant to what happened here. I use oils for most of my hair and skincare. I also use chemically manufactured products, but I found that oils are better for my hair and skin. That's also how my mother took care of me when I was younger. Julie disapproves of this and thinks that I'm just walking around town looking oily and greasy, despite my repeated explanations to her. She has tried to convince me to switch to all chemical products that she uses, but I politely decline each time. When I woke up today after sleeping in with Alex, I walked into our shared bathroom and noticed that my case of oils was not there. I looked around the bathroom to see if it had been moved, and then asked my husband if he had done so. Alex said no, and that's when I went into the living room and asked Julie about the case. Julie smirked and told me that she woke up early this morning, took my case out of the bathroom, and drove to the other side of the community we live in to throw it in the garbage bin there. I was tired and thought she was joking until Julie bragged about it, saying that she did me a favour by preventing me from using what she considers uncivilised methods of self-care. Once her words sank in, I was angry and called Alex into the room to explain what she had done. Alex seemed disappointed but not surprised by Julie's actions, and he told her that what she did was disrespectful. Julie tried to defend herself, saying that she only did what she thought was best, and that it shouldn't be such a big deal. I cut her off and said that I wanted her to give me $76, which was the cost of the oils, so I could replace them. Julie got nervous and said she was in a tight financial spot, so she couldn't pay me back right away. I said that was fine, but I expected her to pay me at some point. After a small argument, Julie eventually packed a bag and said she would stay in a hotel to give me time to calm down and realise how irrational I was being. A few hours later, my mother-in-law and father-in-law scolded me for making Julie feel uncomfortable in our home and said I shouldn't force her to pay for something so insignificant. My husband asked his mum how she would feel if Julie threw out the hundreds of dollars worth of skincare products she owned because Julie didn't think they were good for her. My mother-in-law simply replied with, "That's different," and then told us that I should apologise before hanging up. Note, my mother-in-law and father-in-law are paying for Julie's hotel stay, and apparently they will continue to do so until she returns to our house. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot, but your husband's family certainly is. Not just AHs, but discriminatory AHs, which makes it so much worse. Use such uncivilized ways of taking care of myself. That's discriminatory AF. Seriously, you should be furious and absolutely not let her back in your home until she profusely apologizes and starts paying you back. Your husband needs to explain to Julie that she is discriminatory, and such disrespect won't be tolerated in your household. If not blatantly discriminatory, then horribly ignorant of other cultures' customs. To give me OP, time to cool down and realize how irrational I OP was being. Oh dear God, Julie has that completely backwards. Please don't let Julie back in your house until she comes to her senses and realizes how discriminatory and close-minded her words and actions were. My mother-in-law replied with, "That's different. Ask her, explain how that's any different. It's horrifically disrespectful of your culture and customs. She needs to both explain herself and apologize. I'm sorry you married into such a close-minded, discriminatory family with no respect for other cultures. Your husband needs to make this right by getting them to understand just how awful their words and actions are." Comment 2. Not the idiot. So not the idiot. Julie disapproves of this and thinks that I'm just going around town an oily and greasy mess, despite me repeatedly explaining why I do this to her. She's trying to convince me to switch to all chemical products she uses, but I politely decline each time. Just to be clear, extra AH points to Julie for this. While you smell like oil, she reeks of unresolved racial bias. Julie gave me a smirk, and told me that she had woken up early this morning and took my case out of the bathroom to drive to the other side of the community we live in and dump it into the garbage bin there. And one more here. I can only guess why her STBX threw her out. It's 2023, Jules. Everyone uses oils. Get with the program. Comment 3, not the idiot. Rephrase it to your husband and his family that Julie's actions are coming across as discriminatory, since this is your cultural way of managing your hygiene, and it'd be no different than throwing out a black woman's silk bonnet or complaining about coconut oil. Different hair, skin needs different products, and as you're Indian and they are not, they have zero idea how to manage non-white skin. So take the kid gloves off and call it what it is. Racism. Point that out every time. I'm just trying to help you. Well, when I want help from a discriminatory, I'm sure I can drive down to Walmart and find a KKK member to kick me when I'm done. I don't expect it from my family. Now for the update. It's been a month since the incident with Julie and the oils, and things have only gone downhill. I never expected that standing my ground over something so personal would lead to such a rift. Last week, I came home to find my cherished set of hand-painted ceramic plates, a wedding gift from my grandmother in India, shattered on the kitchen floor. Julie claimed it was an accident, that she was just trying to set the table to thank us for our hospitality. But the look in her eyes told me it was out of spite. The atmosphere at home became so tense that Alex and I started arguing, something we rarely ever did before. It's like all our pent-up frustrations found a crack to seep through, and now we can't seem to stop. He's caught between defending me and keeping peace with his family. Our once calm evenings are now filled with hushed disagreements once Julie goes to bed. But the heartbreak doesn't end there. Last Tuesday I received a call from my office. I've been laid off due to budget cuts. The company assured me it wasn't performance-related, but it was a small consolation. I feel like I'm struggling to stay afloat, and the added financial pressure is suffocating. I decided to reach out to my in-laws, hoping they'd understand my situation and maybe talk some sense into Julie. But instead of empathy, they told me that families should stick together, and that I should be more understanding of Julie's emotional state. I was stunned. It seems the broken plates were just an unfortunate accident, and I was overreacting according to them. Alex and I have found ourselves at a crossroads. He's offered to cover the cost of the oils and the plates to smooth things over, but it feels like a temporary fix. Our home doesn't feel like ours anymore, and I'm not sure how much more of this I can take. Last night, as I tried to fall asleep, I overheard Julie speaking on the phone. She was telling someone how she plans to stay with us for a few more months until she can save enough for a place of her own. The thought of enduring this for months is overwhelming. I'm worried about the strain this is putting on our marriage. Alex and I have always been a team, but now there's a silent battle being fought in the place where we once shared our dreams. The home we built together is crumbling, and it feels like I'm losing everything I hold dear. Now, for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. It's absolutely valid to feel upset and violated when your personal boundaries are disrespected, especially within your own home. The escalation from a simple accident involving spilled oils to a full-blown conflict is concerning. The fact that Julie's actions led to the destruction of your cherished wedding gift, regardless of whether it was intentional or not, is something that cannot be overlooked. It's not just about the plates themselves, but the sentimental value they hold for you, and the lack of respect shown for your belongings. Moreover, it's troubling that your in-laws are defending Julie rather than acknowledging the impact of her actions on you. As for Alex offering to cover the costs, while it may be a kind gesture, it doesn't address the underlying issues of trust and respect that are being eroded in your relationship. You're entitled to a peaceful and secure living environment, and the current situation is neither of those things. Your feelings of losing control over your space and the strain on your marriage are significant issues that need to be addressed beyond mere compensation for broken items. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Dealing with financial hardship on top of a deteriorating home situation is an enormous burden for anyone to bear. Being laid off from work is a stressful event in itself, and it's understandable that you would seek support from those closest to you. However, when your own in-laws take sides and fail to provide the emotional backing you need, it can feel like a betrayal. In a partnership, it's crucial that both parties feel supported and that their concerns are taken seriously. The fact that this conflict is causing arguments between you and Alex suggests that there is a deeper communication issue at play. It sounds like Alex might be trying to smooth things over without fully addressing the emotional impact that Julie's presence and actions are having on you. The value of a partnership is in being able to navigate tough times together, not just financially but emotionally too. It's important for Alex to understand that covering the cost of damages is a band-aid solution and doesn't heal the emotional wounds, nor does it prevent future conflicts. Comment 3. Not the idiot. The sense of losing everything important to you is a profound sentiment that cannot be ignored. Your home should be your sanctuary, a place where you can find peace and solace, especially during tough times like being laid off. Julie's presence and her disregard for your personal space and belongings is creating an environment that is anything but peaceful. It's concerning that the arguments between you and Alex have escalated to a point where your shared dreams are crumbling. When you're in a relationship, it's vital that both parties work together to protect and nurture those dreams, especially during times of stress or conflict. It is Alex's responsibility as your partner to ensure that your shared home remains a place where both of you can feel safe and respected. The fact that you feel overwhelmed by Julie's presence indicates a failure to establish and maintain those boundaries. It's crucial for the health of your marriage that both you and Alex find a way to resolve this situation in a manner that restores your sense of agency in your own home. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.